Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to be here today at Runestone's annual meeting. What I'd like to do is I'd like to call this meeting to order at this time. And if you are able to stand, would you please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. One thing I'd like to add here, do we have any military people in here, any veterans, anybody that served any time at all in our armed forces in the military? Could you please stand? Thank you for your service. Let's just take a minute of silence here and thank the people that made this possible for us. Thank you, folks. I'm going to declare that we do have a quorum present here today. The notice of the meeting and the proof of the mailing is a part of our record of this meeting. I will now appoint Attorney Mark Sugden as our parliamentarian at this meeting. Mark, do you accept that nomination? Thank you. One of the things I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for a motion. I'm going to be looking for a motion to limit the debate of no more than 5 minutes total per person and no more than twice per person on the same subject, with the stipulation that the parliamentarian has the right to oversee and stop the communication. Do I have a motion for that, please? We have a motion and is there a second? Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. We'll call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is now carried. On the agenda that was sent out in the mail, you received a mailing like this earlier. On this mailing is a copy of the agenda right here. And I'm sure you all had an opportunity. Everybody reads their mail that they get, I'm sure. So what I'm looking for is somebody to make a motion to adopt the agenda that we have printed here in our newsletter that we sent out. We have a motion by Lori. Is there a second? And a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. At this time, I would like to recognize some people here that are guests tonight. I'm going to pick on Cliff Patrick right off the bat. Cliff, would you want to stand, please? And we're going to wait and have these people stand and then give them an applause when we're done recognizing them. Cliff was a past board member here at Runestone for many, many years. Played an integral part in helping make REA what it is today. Cliff, if you could stay standing, I thank you for your time. Thank you, buddy. Dan Carlisle. Mr. Carlisle. Dan is CEO of Runestone Electric. He is also the board president of Star Energy. Dan, thank you for being here and all you do in the electric industry. And how about Lois Kronquist? Lois, the CEO at Star. Very thriving business, very good leadership. I want to say thank you. I'd like to introduce to you the board of directors. I'm Andy Anderson. I represent District 1. District 2 over here is represented by Barbara Johnson. Barb is a past president. She's held a lot of the offices. She's been on the board a long time. Thank you, Barb. Audrey Jelly was District 3 representative. Audrey's not able to make it today. District 4, we've got Dave Staples. Dave has been a part of the board, does an excellent job. He's been a part of doing a lot of things here with us. District 5, Mr. Mike Loken. Mike is a big part of the board too. Mike is a vice president at this time. Thank you, Mike. Mr. Joel Sela, District 6. Joel's brought a lot of past experiences to the board. It's good to have you here, Joel. Thank you. And then we got Matthew Matz in District 7. Matt's been a part of the board, does an absolutely awesome job. Thank you very much, you guys. Then I want to introduce the man in command. It's my buddy, CEO, Al Heyman. Attorney Mark Sugden and Sue Lundeen, Member Services Manager. All right, so those of you that have attended our annual meeting before, you maybe recall that within the annual meeting mailing, we've included a copy of the minutes of the previous meeting. By doing this, it's possible to dispense with the reading of the minutes since each and every one of you have had the opportunity to examine the minutes at your home. If you agree with this practice, I'm asking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the 2023 annual meeting of 1 year ago. Do I have a motion for that? Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Thank you. We have a motion second to dispense with the reading of the minutes from 2023. We will call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion is carried. All right, so since the reading of the minutes of the last annual meeting has been waived, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Does anybody have anything that they would like to add or a correction? I hear no comments. We'll move on. At the last annual meeting, I will accept a motion of the minutes of the meeting should show that the minutes of the last annual meeting were approved as printed and mailed to all the members of the association. Is there a motion to accept the minutes that were sent to you? Got a motion back there. Thank you. Is there a second? And a second back there also. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. I'd like to introduce our CEO, Mr. Al Heyman, for the financial report.
All right, good evening, everyone. The financial report is drawn from the April Newsline, which was mailed with your notice of meeting. I'll touch on some of the key statistics, but much more detail is available in the Newsline if you're interested. So for 2023, we closed out the year with $2.6 million in margin. You can see that our margins are relatively stable. They vary a little bit depending upon the GRE capital credits that are issued to us. TIER times interest earned ratio tells us our ability to pay interest that we have on loans. Our ratio is 2.42. The lender's requirement is greater than 1.25. For those who watch interest rates, our blended interest rate stands at 3.2% right now, and we have relatively small amount of loan in variable rate accounts. Our equity at year end was 38.7%. Equity fluctuates according to margin and borrowing. A common range for rural electric cooperatives is between 30 and 40%. Our revenue per kilowatt hour sold for 2023 was 12.9 cents. And the increase that you see there is primarily increases in our wholesale power cost. Kilowatt hour sales in 2023 were down a bit from 2022. That's primarily a function of the weather. If you look at the trend, you can see that our growth has been flat for several years, relatively flat. This slide shows total accounts or meters that we have on the system. We reached 15,239 at the end of 2023. We continue to see steady growth, so you might find this slide interesting. We have growth in accounts and meters, but our sales are relatively flat. And we've been dealing with this for about 10 years now, and what we think is going on is newer homes are energy efficient, and as you're replacing appliances in older homes and doing weatherization projects, we think that that is having an impact. The conservation is having an impact on our overall sales. This slide shows where our revenue came from. We're a little bit unique in that 85% of our revenue comes from residential sales. Many cooperatives have a much higher percentage of sales from commercial. For 2023, about 11.2% of our revenue came from commercial accounts. We spend about 55% of all of our expenses are on buying power from Great River Energy. 12% of the revenue goes to operating and maintaining the system. So just to wrap up, capital credit checks were mailed last week, so you should be seeing those. Past members with a refund balance less than $10, we don't issue checks if the amount is less than 10. We continue to accumulate those until we hit the $10 threshold, and then a check will be issued in future years. That concludes my financial report. I'll turn the meeting back over to President Anderson.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Al, for your report. At this point in time, we're looking for a motion to accept the financial report. Is there a motion out there? We've got a gentleman in the back here. Thank you. Is there a second? And we've got a second right here. You all heard the motion and second to accept the financial report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. You know, we have some pretty interesting days here at Runestone. This year, this past year, we didn't start out with a big bang like we did the year before, where we had all those outages. I know Audrey reported about that. That was a pretty messy year, but our people, they really worked hard through the whole process. You know, we had our mandate that was given to us that by 2040 we have to be carbon free. So that's something that we think about on a daily basis. Another thing that we think about on a daily basis that's pretty big to the board and to the administration is safety. We need safety in place for all of our employees. Safety is number one priority, folks, here at REA. There's absolutely zero compromise to any of that. We're very, very conscious of that, and we've got a great safety program that we use also. Other things that are kind of going on, did you know nearly 65% of the REA members participate in Operation Roundup? That is the program that allows you to bill to the Roundup to the next dollar. These funds are then used to provide grants to local nonprofit and community organizations in our service territory. Since the program began in 2003, you folks out there with your bill have granted the worth of $1.2 million. That's pretty cool. Our Operation Roundup is an amazing thing. 96% of all those dollars collected go out as grants. This year we had Operation Roundup board members complete 6-year term. Is Barry Wahlberg, is he in the audience here by chance? Barry, would you please stand? I don't mean to pick you out of the crowd, but by gosh, you did a nice job here. We had, Barry was, go ahead, give him a round of applause. Barry, representing District 2, just completed his 6-year term. For his time and expertise, we want to say thank you for serving on Operation Roundup Board. Thank you, Barry. We have other groups of members who participate in our Member Advisory Council. Formed back in 1978, the Advisory Council was an effort to increase communication between the REA membership and the REA members, or management, I'm sorry. For many REA members, the communication was a long-distance call, or if it was just a common letter, that was our way of communication. We didn't have no email, we didn't have no websites, we didn't have any other modern forms of communication like we do today. Over the past 45 years, more than 300 individuals and couples have served on the Advisory Council. We want to thank them for their service. The council meets quarterly to discuss issues affecting REA and the energy industry and functions as our sounding board for ideas. The REA staff plans programs that educate the attendees on various topics. For instance, we learned about mining in Minnesota back at our November meeting, and our regional transmission line back in June. Those are projects that are coming up too. For example, one of the things that the Advisory Council would be a part of is, in the REA bylaws, they tax the council with responsibility for acting on proposals to adjust, for example, like compensation for directors. If the proposal to increase a director's compensation would happen to pass the council by a majority vote, the council chairperson would then present that at the following annual meeting to you folks. One of my favorite parts of the Advisory Council meeting is the member spotlight. Representatives from various businesses served by REA have shared their story. For some of the business include Country Blossom Farm, Andy's Tower Hills, Selective TV, Smoky Timbers Campground, Crooked Willow, Rolling Forks Vineyard, Makala Enterprises, and Caden Market, and some others too. There are 3 couples or individuals in each of REA's 7 districts. They meet 4 times a year to learn about the latest happenings at REA and within the electric industry, and to give us feedback about things of concern to our members. Normally, these folks serve a 3-year term, but due to COVID, some of our council members were completing a 5- and 6-year term. Those finishing up their terms, and if when I say your name, if you're here, please stand, okay? The first one would be Dwayne Waldorf. He was representing District 1. I don't know if Dwayne's here. This is a busy time for him in his business. John and Carol Seam. They were here from District 2. Mandy Westrom, District 3. And Mike and Erica Dickey, District 5. I want to say thank you to you folks, and we want to give these folks a round of applause, please. You know, if any of you folks are interested in becoming a member of the Advisory Council, you can contact your board member, or you can just call in here and contact the office here. The gals up here would be happy to help you out. You know, speaking of special people, I'm proud to tell you about one of our board members, a special award that she received. This would be Audrey Jelly, who sits as District 3 representative, and she sits on the board and also serves as secretary for Great River Energy Board. She was chosen to receive the Cooperative Network Builders Award. Folks, this is a big deal. This is a nice accomplishment for Audrey. Her experience in this award recognizes her outstanding contribution to advance cooperative philosophy and ideals. Audrey was nominated for this award for her dedication in furthering the mission of electric cooperatives over the last 3 decades. Her experience as a cooperative member since 1963 provides a unique perspective in the organization she serves through her board seat. When I first met Audrey, she was the president of the board. Over the past 8 years, she's been a mentor to me. And if she was here tonight, she'd probably look over and shake her head and say, boy, that's a work in progress. Also, she was a mentor to a lot of the rest of the board members that are here, sharing her knowledge and understanding of the cooperative world, specifically our electric co-op. Audrey is also known for being a community builder, having established connections across local, state, and regional levels. Although Audrey is actively involved in several organizations on the state and national level, she's never forgotten where she came from. She's attentive to the members of District 3, and those of you in District 3 here, I'm sure realize that, and the rest of you that know Audrey realize how passionate she is for this industry. She represents, and she's always willing to listen to their concerns and bring their concerns to the Board of Management. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I would be willing to bet that those of you that know Audrey and see the passion and love she has for the electric industry have never had a conversation with her that's lasted less than 10 minutes. So thank you, Audrey. I want you to applaud her. I know Audrey's not here tonight, but she's thinking about us, I know. All right, before closing, just want to recognize our employees here at REA. We've got linemen that are out and about in some of the most treacherous weather can be. We talked about safety. Pretty special. We've got an IT department that's working to protect your information. You know, cybersecurity, it's a big deal. We all know that. That's something that they deal with every day. You never know when you're going to get a threat or a hit. That's something that the board of directors is very concerned about also. We got the gals up front, friendly faces. They'll answer your phone call. You walk in the door, they might be on the phone, you get a little wave like, they see you, they know you're there. We got the energy service experts, Ryan Rooney and his team. They help keep your home comfortable and save you money. And I want to recognize everybody else that makes REA tick. And I apologize if I left anybody out. So with that, I am going to call on the man that runs the ship here that we're very pleased to have, our CEO, Mr. Al Heyman.
Thanks, Sandy. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking an hour. Hopefully I don't go more than a couple hours, so no, I'll be quick. As I mentioned during the financial report, 2023 was really a pretty typical year for us, so instead of maybe stand up here and talk about poles and wire and all the work that we did during 2023, I thought I would share with you some research that we've done and make some observations on it. Over the last year, there's been a lot of discussion around Minnesota's new carbon-free by 2040 law, renewable energy and electric vehicles, of course. We get a lot of those questions at the office. So I'd like to update you on some of those topics. So MISO is our region's organization that's responsible for electricity reliability and management of the wholesale power markets. Many news articles recently that discuss regional reliability reference MISO information, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about what MISO really is. So MISO is an organization that has a geographic area that they operate within, and you can see it up on the slide there. It runs from northern Manitoba all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, and it's split into 3 regions. So the northern region includes Minnesota, parts of the Dakotas, eastern Montana, most of Iowa, and Manitoba. The central region is the traditional upper Midwest, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and the south region includes part of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and a little bit of eastern Texas. Conditions for reliability, availability, and cost of power vary dramatically between the regions, but we often see MISO referenced in publications without distinction to which region might have something going on within it. So a situation or a condition in the southern part of MISO may not necessarily affect us up here in the northern part. This slide shows MISO's energy production. In the pie chart, this is a 2023 fuel source mix. On an annual basis, wind makes up 15% of the fuel supply within MISO. And you can see natural gas and coal still produce most of the energy used in MISO. If we break down the three MISO regions, north is about 45% wind, central is 8%, and the south is essentially 0% wind supply. And when you think about the geography of the three areas, it would make sense that we have a lot of wind up here. We have a lot of open space and areas to put that are good for having wind turbines. This slide shows the MISO fuel mix for 2023. And if you look at the yellow line, you can see how that dips down in the summer. So you make note of that. For this next slide, did I just gavel us out? No.
It's all good.
Okay, so this slide shows the MISO wind energy. The blue line is that same percentage in 2020, and the green line is the percentage in 2023. So I think you would agree, thinking back to the other slide, that MISO is not making a lot of progress growing wind as a percentage of generation, particularly in the high-use months of summer. So we've got a lot of work to do as we look at the 2040 carbon-free mandate. More locally, Great River Energy, who's REA's wholesale power provider, has 25% renewables in their energy portfolio. They're in a position to meet the carbon-free by 2040 milestones of 60% by 2030 and 90% by 2035. However, a portion of these goals are projected to be met by using what's called renewable energy credits that are being banked or purchased. GRE will continue to work toward the 100% by 2040 goal, but we're going to need significant breakthroughs in technology, specifically utility-scale battery storage systems. So reaching 100%, like many things, the first part of it's easy to achieve. That last bit is going to take some additional work. At REA, we track solar and wind generators on our system. We know where they're interconnected, how much they produce. We file a report every year, and this is some information from that report. REA members have 64 solar and 8 wind systems interconnected with the distribution lines. And we call these net metered systems. The relatively small backyard and rooftop systems are installed by members to reduce the amount of power that must be purchased from REA. And in some cases, they deliver that excess power back to us. And we purchase that excess power at a value that's just below our general service retail rate. The pie chart on the right shows the excess power totaled 0.3% of all energy purchased by REA in 2023. Again, we've got a long journey to see residential solar contribute in any significant way toward the 2040 mandate. On REA's website, we have 2 new tools that you can use. We, of course, want to remain your experts in all things related to electricity and help those members who are considering the purchase of solar panels or EVs make an informed decision. The 2 calculators are good sources of data and information. Nationally, we see a few vendors selling solar systems to customers based upon assumptions that are wrong, financial assumptions. So the solar tool can help you evaluate a system that you might be looking at to determine what your savings might be and what the payback might be on that investment. And those calculations would use our actual rates and rate projections. The EV tool helps compare traditionally powered vehicles to EVs using, again, our local rates, and allows customization for your circumstances, like how many miles you're driving. Other numbers that we see published are based on national assumptions that can be quite different from what we see here locally. We're always watching electric vehicle adoption to ensure we have an adequate supply of electricity in the system to deliver it. That's one of the more common questions I get. Here's a graphic about electric vehicles. The top bar shows growth in EVs statewide from 10,000 registered vehicles in 2019 to 35,000 in 2023. Lower on the slide, you can see that in April of 2019, we estimated about 37 EVs in Pope Douglas, Grant, and Stevens counties. By January of 2023, there were 130. That's an increase of 350%, and that's trending along with the statewide averages. So how do we incorporate growth of EVs? Well, a key strategy for us, as you purchase EVs, we want to put those into a charging program that allows us to control when that charging is happening. We have 26 vehicles right now taking advantage of off-peak rates. As you can see, some off-peak charging may not work for everyone, depending upon your schedule and when you need to drive and when you need to charge. So we continue to think about developing new programs and rates for those members so we can avoid on-peak charging and defer the need to make expensive system upgrades. To meet the carbon-free by 2040 law, not only do we need more wind and solar, but significant investment must be made in new transmission lines to move the power from windy areas to the load centers. Due to a commercial wind farm's large footprint and permitting challenges, rural areas will continue to see the bulk of wind development. MISO is forecasting that $100 billion in new transmission must be built by 2040 to meet today's decarbonization goals within MISO. Locally here, we have 2 large regional transmission projects planned for our area to be built in the next few years. This slide shows a project that'll run from Millbank, South Dakota to Alexandria here to the substation just south of the interstate. The green shading there shows alternate routes that are being looked at right now. The final route will be dependent upon a PUC decision. The lead utilities that are carrying this project forward, Otter Tail Power and Missouri River Energy Services, have been holding public meetings, and a few of you talked to me before the meeting about those. So there's a lot of landowner engagement before these routes will be approved, and they always evaluate various options. This project is essentially from Alexandria, that same substation, down to just beyond the St. Cloud area. This project will simply add, I say simply, will add 3 more wires onto the other side of those transmission structures that run along the interstate. Most of you would know that one side's got the 3 and then the other one has the insulators there, but there's no conductor. So this is a relatively straightforward project. It'll have to go through permitting and things like that, but it shouldn't be real obtrusive to the area here. And then last important development for us is in January, we received approval of a $25 million construction loan from the United States Department of Agriculture. The loan will cover construction needs at the co-op for the next 4 to 6 years. It funds construction of line extensions to new accounts, replacement of old power lines, construction of a new substation, improve reliability, add smart grid technology, and also to help us fund an upgrade to our load management equipment. This photo here, earlier this year, USDA Minnesota State Director Colleen Landkamer met with the REA management team and several members to learn about the importance of the loan to our rural area. All right, on a personal note, thank you to the REA board and to all the employees. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to fulfill my duties in this very enjoyable and satisfying job. And thank you to all of you, the members, for taking some time tonight. And we always appreciate your feedback and comments at the co-op, so you can keep those coming. All right, Andy, I think we've got time. I'd be willing to try to answer a couple questions if there are any out there related to my report or any other topic that you might have. Cliff.
Yeah, Al, would you speak a bit about the iron oxidase battery that GRE is experimenting?
Sure, so the question's about a battery that GRE has signed a contract for. I mentioned utility scale battery. This would be a battery that would be able to produce 1 megawatt of power for 100 hours. Now in wholesale power, that's not much. The unique, but it's an experimental thing and it's a building block. So if they can prove the concept, they've proved the concept in a very small box, and then they continue to add these modules and get them to work together. So the unique thing about this particular battery is it uses iron and rust, if you can believe that. So the rusting process, it charges, and then the rusting process can store the electricity, and then it can be discharged. It's a very novel idea. It's been proven many years ago it was invented, but it's been hard to get it to utility scale. So GRE is going to start construction on that, I believe, late this year or into next year. So it's probably coming online in maybe 2026. All right, they're going to let me off the hook here, so I'll turn the meeting back over to you, President Anderson.
Thank you, Al. For those of you that are receiving a scholarship tonight, if you could find your way over to the wall over on the east side, or on the edge over there, Allie's over there, if you could kind of point them down that way, Allie. On behalf of the REA Board of Directors, I'm pleased to present the winners of the 2024 REA Scholarship Program. The scholarships are funded through unclaimed capital credits. Each of the students will receive a $1,000 scholarship. This year we had 76 applicants, the 26 winners were randomly drawn from each of the 7 REA districts. So students, when your name is called, we're going to have you come down here through the districts. So the District 1 people that I have here, I've got your award down here. So Tucker McCain, if you want to just walk on down here. Tay Matthews, if you want to just stand right here, I'll give you your deal here. Jalen Halverson and Braden Larson. This is District 1, folks, if you want to give them an applaud here. For District 2, you can come on up here and Barbara will help you out with yours there. District 2, Holly Lenars, Dakota Christofferson, Braden Larson, Alex Schmidt, that completes District 2. If you want to give them a hand. District 3, I think, Matt, you taking care of that? So we've got Callie Glay, Carson Anderson, and I know some of these aren't here. Alexa Blum, That is our District 3. District 4, we got Dave Staples over there. Taylor Suki. Gavin Engelbrett. And Riley Bunderman. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our District 4 group there. District 5, we've got Mike there. Caden Weber. Hunter Waltz. Levi Johnson. Ashlyn Bergerman. And Owen Draper. Owen's not here. That's our District 5, folks. Our District 6, we have Joel Sela represented there. We have Geneva Remps. Kyle Maggs. Carter Renke. Karith Baker. Ian Crossley. That is District 6, folks. And for District 7, do we have, is it Haley? Haley Shea. And we've got Emura Sano, and we've got Dwayne Anderson. That's our District 7 down there. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your 2024 scholarship recipients right here. Congratulations, students. If you want to just walk back out that same way, and what we're going to have you do is go back to the Commons area because I think they want to have a picture of you. Thank you very much for being here. Does anybody here have any new business they would like to bring before the association here tonight? Without seeing anybody, no hand go up. Mark, would you like to come and talk about our election?
Sure thing. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This year, director seats in 2 districts, Districts 2 and 5, are up for election. In District 2, the incumbent director candidate, Barbara Johnson, and in District 5, the incumbent director candidate, Mike Loken, both ran unopposed. Pursuant to REA's bylaws, Barbara and Mike can be elected by acclamation, a voice vote by the members of Districts 2 and 5. Do we have a motion to elect Barbara Johnson for District 2? Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations to Barbara. She has been re-elected as District 2 Director. Do we have a motion to elect Mike Loken for District 5? I see one in the back. Is there a second? Second over here. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations to Mike. He is reelected as the District 5 Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Congratulations, Mike and Barb. At this point in time, there's no other business to bring before the membership. I would ask for a motion to adjourn. We've got a motion there. Is there a second? We have a second there. All in favor signify by saying aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very, very much.